everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Woki, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. And today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming Christmas event, which is 7 Days, 8 Years Snow Carol. That's going to be today's video. I hope you like it. If you do, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, because it does help out the channel. And tell me what you're most excited for. And hopefully, I can get this video done as quickly as possible. I'd already fully recorded a version of this, but it ended up being 40 minutes long. And I said, I can surely get that down a bit. So let's begin and get through this as quickly as we can, shall we? So first thing to note, obviously I'm looking at the JP version of the event itself. So when is it going to be coming for us? Well, on the 18th at 6 p.m. PT, there's going to be a stream with Albert and Michael where they'll talk about the upcoming event, and then the game will go into maintenance, and after maintenance is done, then the event will start, and it's simple enough. How long is it going to last? Well, on JP, it went from December 20th to the 31st. We're starting about 2 days earlier than that, so likely the 29th. They would have... It makes sense why it goes until the 31st. It would be nice if they actually did that for us too, just so it means 2 more days of lotto grinding, but it's likely to be the 29th, but if it changes, that would be nice. Some things to take note of is that you have to have cleared Trom if you want to get access to the Welfare Santa Nemo, which you can see him right there. If you do not clear Trom, then you just can't get Santa Nemo. It's simple as that. But if you just want to do the lotto, then all you need to do is clear Fuyuki, which is extremely easy to do, because it literally is the first thing you do in the game before you can do anything. Okay, so let's talk about the event itself. Like I said, it's a lotto type event. The welfare for this go around is going to be Santa Nemo, who is a writer, so make sure to pick him up because it will help out your team regardless of anything. I'm looking forward to finally having a copy of Nemo, since I never pulled SSR Nemo, which you can randomly do. And this is how the quest schedule is going to kind of look like. As you can see here, we have main quest prologue and the free quest right when the event starts. And then the next day we have main quest day 1, and then it goes day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and then day 7 in the epilogue and free quest. Why is it like that specifically? Well, the reason is that actually there is a rotating system. Level 90 and 90 plus free quests will rotate every day, starting from December 21st until December 26th, which was on JP, so that would not start for us. That would start from the 19th till about, let's see, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, 25. 25th. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. If I'm wrong about that, forgive me. Let's get through it. I don't want to waste everything. But as you can see here, the main quest will kind of go through. I'll talk about them a little bit pretty soon, but the main thing to take note of is that 90++, which is the best way to farm, doesn't open until the 7th day, but you can use the early kind of days to farm the material that you can to get ready for the final node. Or if you're someone who's not able to do the final node, you can just kind of obviously grind to the way you want to regularly. We'll talk a little bit more about grinding pretty soon. Login bonus will be should be 10 days of apples with 2 golden apples on day 1 and day 8, and then the rest of them are going to be silver apples. And now, in terms of event bonuses, we can look at them right here. So Santa Nemo will have 100% damage and 50% bond. The units that will have 50% damage and 20% bond are going to be Santa Carna, Altera, Nightingale, Lily Alter, Salter, Martha, Sambaquets, Brittle Mart, Nemo, Regular Nemo, and Summer BB. 30% damage and 20% bond, that goes to Tesla, Zvataman, Marianning, Habitrot, Merlin, King Asan, 4-star BB, and Oberon. And then MASH will also get 30% to damage and 5% bond to everyone, which is Neato Burrito. And then we have the event cards. We have Holy Blue, which is the 5-star grind CE for this event. Its effect is debuff removal resistance 15% to 20% when max limit broken, NP damage plus 10%, 15% when max limit broken. Starting NP is 30% and then 50% at max limit break. And then the drops you get are, of course, lotto tickets that you can use. The Christmas Happy ticket is what they call it. So this is going to be a very important CE. It's going to be the one you're going to be mostly using, even if you do end up subbing a little bit on the banner if you are one of the people who plan to do so. Event reward command codes. The 5-star is Love Poem with the Crane's Vow. Gain 3 crit stars and increase NP gain by 5% when attacking with the engraved card. Golden Trident, remove 1 critical damage up buff from enemy and increase critical damage by 10% when attacking with the engraved card. That's the 4-star. And then finally the 3-star one, which has a little funny reindeer hat, is Reindeer Hat that bears the Holy Knight. Removes 1 ceiling debuff and gains 1 crit star when attacking with the engraved card. Next, Let's talk about the shop. The shop will have the same basic gold material, silver material, and bronze material, which is shark pie, coral cane, and shell cracker. And then from the lotto, you'll get Nautilus ornaments, and you can use Nautilus ornaments to get some stuff in the Nautilus ornament shop. You'll need a grand total of 32 if you want to get absolutely everything in the shop, though there is a little bit of discrepancy depending on when we'll talk about it. So the first thing up is White Christmas, which you can get if you are not able to clear Chom. The reason this is here is because on the first main quest, you get White Christmas or the 2 Nautilus ornaments if you decided to get White Christmas first before starting the main quest, which is totally possible by the way it's set up, but you can just simply start the event itself and you'll get yourself a little Santa outfit, which is pretty nice. And then some other things is that there is an NP copy. Now, there's one, the 3 of them are going to be available after you permanently get Nemo itself, after you finish the main quest, but the other one should be there from right away. The one thing I'm not sure of is if that is available, including to the people who haven't cleared Trom. If you do see it in shop and you don't clear Trom, don't get it, because what's going to happen is that you're going to get Santa Nemo thinking, I didn't need to clear Trom, whatever, I can get 1 copy and be happy with that, and then the event will end, and then you will lose access to Santa Nemo because you need to beat the main quest, so just ignore it if you are somewhat of that. But the rest of the things that you can get are, let's see, we have a lore, and then we have, hold up, I need to find the exact, there it is. Okay, so yeah, you need 32 in total. 1 lore, gold info for HP and attack, 1 quick arts and buster code opener, 1 code remover, and then 500k per 2 Nautilus is at the end after you've cleared everything in the shop. And then we have Shark Pie. To get everything in the Shark Pie shop, you'll need 4,620 Shark Pies, and then what you can get from there are 2 of the Santa Nemo Ascension materials, 16 stacks of 10 Nemo coins, 2 Event CEs Holy Blue, a command code, a lore, HP gold info, 40 stacks of 10 evocation leaves, and this is going to be basically the same throughout everything as I'm going to talk about it. The only difference is that in the other ones, you get only 1 of the Ascension material and 1 of the command code. Not 1 of the command code, 1 of the event CE, as such that, and obviously the command code will be 5, 4, and 3 depending on what material. The gold material has the 5, silver has the 4, and then that. But yeah, that will be it throughout all of them. They'll be available through all of them. And then next we have, in terms of material, 10 Hearts of the Foreign God, 10 Comet Shards, 20 Bloodstone Tears, 20 Aurora Steels, 20 Saber, Lancer, and Caster statues, and then after you finish getting everything, you can start exchanging them 2 at a time for 10k QP after you get everything. And then we have Coral Canes. Like I said, you have the same basic stuff right there, but then the fruit. Then for materials, we have 20 Fruit of Longevity. Oh, the other thing is that the stacks are different. It was 40 for the golden, it's 30 in here, so that's another thing to keep for evocation leaves. And if you're wondering what I mean by stacks, it means that when you get 10 for every 1. So you get 1 and you get 10, so when you buy 30, you'll get 300 or so. Anyway, 20 Fruit of Longevities, 20 Medals, 20 Scales of Fantasies, 20 Stingers, 20 Silver, Saber, Lancer, and Caster statues, and then you can exchange it for the gold material 10 to 1 after you finish and get everything. And then we have the Shell Cracker, which again, like I said, has the same basic materials. And then we have 20 silver foe for HP and attack, 55 EXP, 20 Infinity Gears, 20 Ice Crystals, 30 Dragon Ice Fangs, 30 Dragon Fangs, and 30 Chains. And then you'll also notice that there's no 4 XP to get from this. The reason is that you will get a vast majority of it inside of the lotto. So you can find that there. And that is the main basic shop here. In terms of the free quests, this is what I'm going to look at very quick. Fundamental, this is where I lost a lot of my time talking about everything, so let's see if I can quickly get through this as effectively as I can. The fundamentals is there's going to be beginner, intermediate, advanced, and extreme, which you can get beating them will give you a bronze apple on beginner, a silver apple for intermediate and advanced, and then on extreme, a golden apple. And this is also a way to farm some of the materials. In intermediate, that's the best place to get the shell crackers. For silver, for advanced, that's where you get the silver material, which is coral cane. And then on extreme, that's going to be for the gold. And these are all, I say they're the best, but it's like if you want to solo focus in on it, it's probably best for the people who are a bit newer and can't effectively grind the ones that will be able to drop all the materials. So if you're a brand newer player, this is likely where you'll want to start getting first, where you can get all the materials you can, and then kind of go from there. Again, assuming that you are a brand new player and this is the way to go. If you're someone who's a little bit stronger in your box, obviously this does not apply to you. We'll talk about what does apply to you very soon. So the 90 node is called Powder Dust, and the 90 plus is called Flake Dust, and then Diamond Dust is the 90 plus plus one. And the 90 plus plus one is the absolute best way to farm it, but obviously not everyone can do it, because as you can see here, this is a final boss which has almost 800,000 HP, so not everyone can do it. Some people are going to look at this number and say, damn! Well, I look at this and go, oh, I have a pretty good idea of what team I can use for this one specifically. So it's going to vary player to player how effectively it is, but if you want the best way to get everything, it's to do this. But for the people who can't do that, we have over here Flake Dust and Powder Dust. On Powder Dust, this will only ever drop the Lotto tickets for you. So that's why I said if you're someone who's maybe a little bit of a not super strong, but you can at least still do the pure Lotto grind, then obviously what you want to do is try and get all the materials you can from the beginning ones and then just focus in on Powder Dust. But if you're someone who's able to kind of grind them out, this is what I'm going to end up doing, so I guess I'll tell you what I'll do, is I plan to just do Flake Dust to get all the materials possible, and then not grind too heavy, try to get as much of the event CE from the shop that I can, but not going like too hyper crazy until the final day where Diamond Dust becomes available, and then from that point on, I'll do it. But for other people, obviously the best way to handle Lotto, if you can't do this, then obviously you can start Lotto grinding a little bit earlier than everyone else, but again, very dependent on your box and stuff like that. Hopefully I can explain that as well as I can, and I'm not going to spend another, I think it was almost 10 minutes of me talking about this. But anyway, let's continue on, because obviously, like I said, every single day is going to have different fights in it until day 7, where day 7 is the one that will be hyper focused in on it. So really, for these days, if you want to grind a little bit heavier, it's probably because maybe they have a material that you could potentially drop, or maybe they have a fight that's a little bit easier for you. I'll say for Powder Dust, even though there's a lot of high HP ones, this one is slightly easier to do just because it's very simple. It's 3 enemies, 3 enemies, 3 enemies, which is pretty easy to do. While Flake Dust has 1 enemy, 3 enemy, 1, so it's a little bit more of a wonkier kind of setup. So you either want to try and use a buster, or you have to have a very good arts, or kind of figure out your team from there. It's a little bit more complicated is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, Powder Dust on day 1, this is the way the setup is going to be. You're going to be fighting casters, and then the drops are Cursed Beast Show List, Ice Crystals, Twilight Blades, Caster Gems, and a Caster Gold Statue are potential drops here. And then on day 2, you'll fight Riders, which the drops you can potentially get are Primordial Lagua, Crystal Bells, Crystals, and then Bells, which the bells are Ancient Bells in this one. I forget that there's 2 bells every time I write it down. And then Rider Gems and a Gold Rider Statue is also something you can potentially get. On day 3, you fight Sabers, and they can potentially give you Demonic Flame Hazukis, a Yarn, a Twilight Blade, Saber Gem, and a Golden Saber Statue. On day 4, it's Riders, a Comet Shard, Ice Crystal, Civil Crowns, Rider Gems, and a Golden Statue for Rider. On day 5, you can potentially get, you're going to be fighting Lancers, and then it's Reactor Cores, Ancient Bells, Stingers, Lancer Gems, and a Lancer Golden Statue. On day 6, it's Archers you're going to be fighting, with a potential of getting Ghost Lanterns, Magatama, Proof of Hero, Archer Gems, and a Golden Archer Statue, of course. And then on day 7, it's Assassins all the way, and then it's a Lamp, Ash, Stinger, Assassin Gems, and an Assassin Gold Statue. And like I said, the main only drop that you get from every single one of those days are the tickets, the Lotto tickets. And now for Flake Dust, to get through this, on day 1 for Flake Dust, you will be fighting Sabers, and then the potential drops that we have here are the Warhorse's Horn, Shells, Heroes Proof, Saber Gems, and a Saber Golden Statue. On day 2, it is you're fighting Lancers, and you can potentially get Ghost Lanterns, Scales of Fantasies, Heroes Proof, Lancer Gems, and Lancer Golden Statues. On day 3, it's again fighting Lancers with a potential of getting Fruit of Longevitives, what is this called? The Divine Leyline Spiritron? Something like that. I always feel like I'm getting that name wrong. Stingers, Lancer Gems, and Lancer Golden Statue. On day 4, it's Casters, Eggs, Arrowheads, Tiny Bells of Amnesty, Caster Gems, and a Caster Golden Statue. On day 5, it is going to be a fight with Berserkers, with Wine, Ice Crystals, Twilight Blades, Berserker Gems, and a Berserker Golden Statue being your potential drops. On day 6, we have Assassins, the Longua. I'm also not 100% sure if I get the name of that one right at all. The page, the page, the book pages. Why am I suddenly screwing up? Don't die here. Forbidden pages. The fluid assassin gems and assassin golden statues on day 7 is going to be a fight with berserkers. Bloodstone, tears, gears, twilight blades, berserker gems, and a berserker golden statue are your potential drops here. And then obviously for completing it, you get 100 mana prisms and a golden apple here. The one thing I'm not sure of, because I wasn't able to find it, this is the one problem with me not playing the JP version and being able to play the events as they come out, is I wasn't sure if that every single day you get a potential of a golden apple, but I would definitely check it to be sure. I'll be checking to be sure if I can get it, because you can get a supply of it. But if you know the answer to that, feel free to leave it down below, but I wasn't playing JP at the time, and I don't play JP, so I don't know that, and there's no reference to it here, so not 100% sure on that, but at least I can... I tried looking for it. I could not find the answer for you. Next, we have Diamond Dust 90++, which I'll just go over what this fight is, because you're going to be fighting casters, and the potential drops here are Scarabs, Eggs, Ether Photons, Heroes Proofs, Caster Gems. No golden caster statue here, though. And then the thing you'll get is absolutely all of the material, gold, silver, bronze, and the tickets. And you reading this gives you 200 mana prisms. This is the one I'm mainly going to be doing because I actually have a bunch of writers that can help me out on this one. Quests I will gladly do. You also get a lot of bond points for doing these, so of course I'm also looking forward to getting some bond points from that as well. So yeah, this is going to be my main one. But again, like I said earlier before I said anything else, if you can't do any of them, just look to do some of the easier ones and kind of go through there, especially if you're a newer player. As long as you're able to get more stuff for the Lotto, it'll help your team. And who knows, maybe as you continue doing the Lotto, you'll get more dudes awakened and stuff like that, and you'll be able to do some of the harder stuff. It's also possible. There is also going to be another one that's called Snow Crystal, which will be there. It costs 5 Nautilus to go in there and do the fight. All you have to do is do it once, and then you'll get a ticket and a bell, Tiny Bell of Amnesty, and a caster gem. This one should be pretty easy to do. Just kind of remember that. I say kind of easy to do, but then there is a boss here that has like 100,000 HP or so. I have to remember this because a lot of the time when I try making videos, a lot of it is from the perspective of someone who has a very big account, but I have to take into account that there's a lot of like newer players who are potentially doing this, and to them, seeing that much HP might be a little bit frightening, but in the back of my head I always go, well, if it's that scary, you can always just use a friend. A friend Arjuna Alter, and I'm sure he'll help you out, but you know, obviously it's hard when you're not a new player anymore. I try my best for you guys, and hopefully it's enough, but I know it's never fully perfect because I can never have the exact experience. Anyway, the challenge quest that will show up, you have to just clear Solomon and it'll become available. I don't usually talk too much about this just simply because some people like the surprise of it all, and I also don't like to know what the boss fights are just in case I decide to make a video on it. I very rarely end up doing it, mainly because I get very busy, but if I remember to do it this time, it'll show up and then everyone can see my amazing, terrible gameplay. Anyway, the Lotto. This is the main big thing we're here to talk about. So, what is the Lotto? So the best way to explain the Lotto is that it's like a box, and then inside the box there's a bunch of items, which you can see here. To get everything in the box, you'll need 600 tickets in total, because it costs 2 tickets to do a single pull of it, and then you get something from it. For the first 10 boxes, there are grand prizes. For the first 1 through 5 boxes, it's Foe's Footprint or Beast's Footprint. On the 6th box, it's a Crystallized Lore. On 7 through 9, it is a Golden Foe for attack, I believe, yes. And then a Holy Grail is the 10th one, and then from 11 onwards, there's no more grand prizes. The reason that there's grand prizes is that in theory, after you get the grand prize, you can then reset the box and get a new box. I haven't done that in maybe, I don't know, maybe 6+ years. It's been a very long time. The only reason that exists is that I guess if you are at the end of the event, you didn't grind it very much, and then at the last second, you're just trying to get all the grand prizes. I guess what you can do is get the grand prizes and then reset and just go for it there. Most people just prefer to get everything in the box because, you know, it's just what they're doing. So there's very little reason to skip unless, like I said, it's the last day and you skipped most of the event and you just want to try and get the grand prizes. But yeah, from 11 to 4, there's no more grand prizes, and then they get replaced with something else, which is just like some QP, I believe. But then now let's take a little closer look at the box itself. So some of the list of common rewards. There's going to be an exchange ticket. You get about 2 exchange tickets for every 1 box in there. So you can use this to exchange for some material. The potential material you can get from the ticket are Dawnlight Reactor Core, Warhorse Immature Horn, the Longua, the Arrowhead, and the Tiara. The Crown of Radiant Silver, my bad. You can get one of those using the tickets, so whichever one you would prefer to have more of, you can get that from there. And then inside the box, for the first 10, what you get are 4 Nautilus ornaments, 2 exchange tickets, 2 homunculus babies, 2 seashells, 3 stakes, 3 gunpowder, 1 golden gem for every class, 2 red gem of every class, 2 blue gem of every class, 25 4 EXP, 15 4 EXP, 1 golden apple, 2 silver apples, 3 bronze apples, 45 prism, 10.7k friend points, and 4.45 million QP is inside the box. So once you get everything inside the box, it can reset, and then after you get to the 11th one, you'll see the following items are replaced, which is the grand prize, the golden apples, and the silver apples, and they are replaced with just some friend points or QP. You can see the little tiny change from 10.7k to 10.8k and 4.45 million to 4.48 million. It's a very small increase of it, but yeah, that's the basic rundown of it. You try and get as much of the material as you can. If you're a newer player, this is the best time to try and get as much gems as you can, because not only will you be getting a lot of QP, because you'll be getting it from the box itself, but then also eventually the Nautilus, after you get absolutely everything from the Nautilus shop, those just convert straight into QP for you directly. You'll be getting a lot of that, along with the following material, which can be used in a whole bunch of stuff, like Stakes is used in a bunch, Mystic Stimulus Gunpowder is used in a bunch, Seashells are used on just about every goddamn summer unit that you can imagine, and they require a decent bit here, not even counting everything. Like, yeah, look at all the units that could use Seashells. So any unit of yours that could potentially use Seashell, it's good to pick some up. And yeah, you just kind of farm this as to your heart's content, basically. When I was a brand new player to the game, this is the thing I used to get better at the game, I guess, to get a better box. It helped a whole bunch to get everyone fully ascended. I was able to get a bunch of gems that helped me with getting more skills leveled up and stuff like that. So it's a very good thing to grind, especially because you'll also get a lot of bronze apples. For example, I think I have around 700 bronze apples or so, which is an excessive amount of bronze apples. No one should have that many bronze apples. But the reason I have so much is because I grinded the Lotto super early on, and I got everything Ascended material, and then I didn't need to grind all that much for a lot of everything else. So it ended up making it so that I was able to save apples to an insane degree. Obviously, not every player is exactly like that, but that's at least my experience for it. So while the Lotto is here, make sure to take advantage of it, is what I want to try and say. And also, I think the Lotto is only going to be here next year. When I was doing my look-through for the next year for the video I was going to do later, I realized there's only a singular Lotto next year, which is Christmas time. So this is your chance to do a Lotto. So make sure to do it, is what I'm trying to say here. If you don't play during this time, you're going to be running into a very unfortunate time later on if you don't do it now. But anyway, that is the Lotto box. Make sure to happy grinding for it. I wish everyone the best of luck with it. And the video is still not done, but we are at a better track time than I was previously. So let's quickly end this up and talk about the summoning campaigns. So there are going to be 5 banners. 4 of them are going to be summonable with St. Quartz, and the last one is a Friend Point campaign one. And every single one of them are going to have the following craft essences, except for obviously the Friend Point one. Those are different. But the summonable ones will have Octonautica, which is the 5-star. It ignores defense, buster performance plus 8% and MP rate 15%. And it helps give you some more of the golden drops, which are the Shark Pie. I've never had a Shark Pie. I wonder how it tastes. Anyway, Commune on Sablier is the French CE, and I've completely fucked that. It's okay. It's not the first or last time I fucked up a French word. Quick performance plus 8%, critical damage plus 10%, and critical rate 10%, and this will help you get silver drops. A very precious gift, which is the bronze one, NP damage plus 5%, NP rate plus 3%, and starting NP plus 10%, and this will give you a little bit more of the bronze drops. After a certain point, you stop using those, like because you are so focused in on the Lotto, a lot of the time when you summon on these campaigns, you get the CEs and they help you for like the first, I don't know, 4 hours or so, and then you slowly start to replace them with the lotto ticket ones. At least that's my experience. Or you use them all up front to help make it easier to get everything in the shop, and then you discard them the second that you're done with the shop and stuff like that. But either way, they're available everywhere. Summoning Campaign 1 is just straight up Nemo himself. Non-limited Nemo will be featured on the day of the release of the event. Summoning Campaign 2 will be Britomart, and I believe this is about a day later, so Britomart will show up then. And then next banner after that will be one with Summer BB and Asvataman, and then the Summoning Campaign after that will feature Scotty and Asvataman again. And then the Friend Point campaign is going to feature Mary Anning, and then also the Craft Essence EXP cards, which is going to be for Bunyan and Daikokutin and Mary Anning, the 4-star and 3-star respectively. If you do not have Mary Anning, I would suggest going to get Mary Anning. I love Mary Anning. I think she's a very good, solid, free-to-play Lancer. I have her grailed out to level 90 because I love me the Learning with Manga units, of course. Daikokutin, Lancer, Bunyan, all forms. I love them. So maybe a little bit biased, but I'm going to tell you, she's a pretty solid Lancer. I've been able to use her effectively for a good amount of time here. And then it's also nice to get the limited craft essence. Don't go too hard, just because you do need some friend points later on for summertime, or a little bit after summertime, where there'll be a unit that you can get from the free-to-play stuff right there. Plus, if you have not actually finished Lost Belt 6, then you want to make sure to get later copies of Habitrot as well. So probably don't go, unless you just beat Lost Belt 6 and you need more copies of Habitrot, then this is a good time to get some Mary Annings and potentially some Habitrots as well. But make sure to save some is what I'll say. But if you're also going crazy on the Lotto, you'll get plenty of friend points for later, actually. So what do I know at the end of the day? Anyway, in terms of these summoning campaigns, I'm not going to be doing videos on these 3 just because I have other videos I need to try and get done before the end of the year, and I'm running out of time. But just to quickly tell you, I will go over Nemo, but I will quickly tell you about the other ones. Scotty and his Vatamon is the one the most people are likely going to summon on, because Scotty is a quick supporter. She's still pretty solid. Obviously, Summer Scotty is the main one for quick nowadays, but if you want a unit that is a little bit more defensive focus, because her NP is defensive focus, which is really nice. Plus, her 50% quick comes with a buff to crit damage to quick. Funny enough, Summer Scotty gives a 50% crit damage bonus to Buster. She doesn't give it to quick. So if you actually want to buff quick crit damage, then you're going to have to actually need regular Scotty for that one. And Asvataman is story lock, so getting more copies of him or trying to get him is good in general, just because it's very hard to get him. BB Summer is another one that most people are likely to summon on, because of course it's Summer BB. I think she's very good. She has a very fun niche to play around with. And having an AoE Mooncancer is pretty nice, but of course if you're someone who already has Archetype Earth fully built up, you'll find very little case for Summer BB at that point. But at that point, you can also just look at Summer BB and go like, hey, as I've said multiple times throughout the years, you never really need a reason to summon for a summer unit. It's enough that they just kind of exist, and that's a good enough reason for you to want to get them. I wish you the best of luck. And then Britomart, I've said in the past, she's also a limited unit, that I wish Britomart was a little bit better, and I've had a couple people kind of fight me back on that, and I'll say every time that they've said it, it's like I've always said the excuse, which is, dude, I use her. I try my best to use her. It's a little bit rough in MP1. Maybe you need more MP copies, but it's definitely one of those ones where I really like Britomart, so if you still like her, obviously go for her. That's why I went for her, and I'm damn happy to have her, of course. But if you're someone who maybe is like, oh, I could use a Lancer AoE, is this the one I should go for? I would usually say no, unless you really like Britomart, in which case your love for Britomart outpaces how good she actually is. And now Nemo, which we'll actually go over because this is his event. So Nemo, he's the only non-limited getting a summon campaign. I'm actually kind of curious if they're gonna do more summon campaigns that we don't know of. Who knows? Nemo, he is a writer. He has 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 buster. He has 3 clicks on arts, 4 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, and 4 hits on extra. Active skills, this is the main one because this buff comes later, is Voyager of the Storm C++. Increases party's NP damage for 1 turn, increases party's attack for 1 turn, increases party's attack on the water side or void battlefield for 3 turns, 12% to NP damage, 12% to attack up, 20% to damage on water side or void space attack. And then this is on a cooldown of 5. And then the buff that he gets much later, it turns into Submariner Beneath the Shimmering Waves, A. And it also it changes the increase of NP damage from 3 turns, from 1 turn to 3 turns. The same is true for party attack. And they also get an increase to party's buff removal resistance for 1 time 3 turns. The attack also gets up a little bit. It's now 15% for NP damage and attack, which is nice. And 100% buff removal resistance at level 10. Second skill is Indomitable B+. Grants self the gut status for 1 time 5 turns. Charges on NP gauge. Grants self a guts on its grants self an on guts activated buff for 1 time 5 turns. Charges NP gauge when guts status is activated. 3000 HP healed, 30% to NP, 50% to guts NP, and then this is on a cooldown of 7. His third skill is the Journey's Guidance C++, increases party's performance for 3 turns. Further increases party's arts performance on the water side or void space battlefield for 3 turns, then gain some crit stars. 20% to arts, 20% to water side and void space arts, and then 15 to crit stars, and then this is on a cooldown of 5. Rating A+, Divinity A, and Sea God's Protection B are his passive skills, with Sea God's Protection B being an increase to own crit damage of arts cards by 10%, and then reduces own damage taken by 500 when on the water side or void space battlefield. His third skill is an anti-archer attack damage aptitude, and his noble phantasm is the Great Ram of the Nautilus. I shall conquer the Great Ram of the Nautilus. Rank A anti-unit noble phantasm. Its arts hits 3 times. It increases own MP damage by 20% when on the water side or void space battlefield for 1 turn. Increase evasion of water side or void space battlefield for 1 turn. Activates first. Deals damage to 1 enemy. Deals 150% extra damage to super large enemies. At MP level 1, it's 900%, and if you get them all the way to MP level 5, it's 1,500. And then he also increases his NP damage for 1 turn on overcharge. This activates first. At charge level 1, it's 10%, and if you get him all the way to the final charge level, it's 30%. He gets a little glasses for Ascension material. As a bonus costume, he gets an outfit with glasses on it. And his Bond CE is on the mysterious wandering island. When equipped on Nemo, increases party damage against super large enemies by 15%, and then increases the party's arts performance by 10% on the water side or void space battlefield while he is on the field. And that is Nemo. So how is Nemo? The last time I had to talk about Nemo, I talked about how kind of disappointed I was in a lot of the things he does, just because it didn't make a lot of sense with how he was kind of support focused and he didn't seem to be all that great in it, and what's the point of using a unit that kind of goes... And a lot of his damage is very heavily based off of the water side or void space battlefield, and some of the stuff like here, it only lasts for a single turn. I didn't think it was very good. Since then, they have given him a buff, which is a big help for sure. Very nice. This is a significant and good increase. Going from 1 turn to 3 turns is great. And the other thing that's changed is that now there is actually a reason to have a support like this, because they introduced grand battles. And in grand battles, the thing that I always said is that why would you want to bring a support that wasn't like fully focusing on support when you could just bring someone who would be? Maybe for a challenge quest it could maybe work out, but why would you do it if you had the choices of everything else? Well, they released a fight where you didn't have very many choices. And in a fight where you can only use riders, having a rider that can give support is pretty nice. He has a guts that can help out with that as well. The only thing that I'm not sure of is actually in that fight whether or not waterside or void it counts as waterside or void battlefield. This is another thing where I tried to look it up and I could not find the answer. So if you know the answer to that, feel free to let me know. But I think he's better now, if only because they introduced a fight and they did give him a pretty nice buff. I still kind of feel the same, which is that it's kind of rough that if you're not on waterside or void space, he kind of just does nothing. And if also he wants to really fight a super large enemy, but you have to also make sure that maybe that super large enemy is in waterside or void space, which isn't the most fun thing to say. I kind of, you know, it is what it is at some point. Not every unit needs to be crazy broken, and maybe some of them can have a niche that you can try and make work, and that's good enough. But if you're a Nemo fan, because I remember the Nemo fan I talked to, as I said, like, hey, can you give me some of your opinions? If you have your opinions changed on Nemo, feel free to let me know. Do you think he's better now? Do you think he's, does he still need a lot of improvement? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know. I like that conversation a whole lot. It's how I got most of my information from Nemo, because obviously I don't have him, because I never chase him on a banner. And this now goes to, should you summon? The answer is probably no. You probably should not summon because of all the banners that are going to be coming in the year 2026. The only people who would ever summon on a Nemo banner are someone who are so dedicated to Nemo, they said, I want to make specifically this Nemo my grand. Not the other writer Nemo. Not the other Nemo. This Nemo. So the people that exist for that are very small. Actually, let me double check here. I'm pretty sure the other Nemo is... Yeah, he's also writer. There's another Nemo coming later. Anyway, if you do end up summoning, I wish you the best of luck. And that's it for the video, everyone. It's actually ended up being 5 minutes shorter, which at some point I'm just going to have to accept that this is good enough. Hopefully it's a decent bit. It's also releasing at a weird time because I wanted to release it today, so it's going to be released at not my regular time. But anyway, I thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy-go-lucky day, I guess. Good luck if you decide to summon. If you don't, then good luck continuing to save, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. Okay then, bye-bye.